Have you ever wondered why some men, even without a flashy car, six-pack abs, or $1 million job, still have women chasing after them? It's because attraction isn't about what most of us were taught. It's not about looks, not about money, not even about status. Those things help, but they're not the root. The real power? It lies in something deeper. Understanding the hidden triggers that live in the subconscious mind of a woman. The soft spots, the psychological cues, the vulnerabilities she doesn't even know control her decisions. You see, most men go through life trying to impress, trying to please, trying to prove they're good enough. But the truth is, the moment you start chasing, you lose your edge. Power doesn't come from pursuit. It comes from awareness. When you understand what stirs a woman emotionally without even saying a word, that's when the game changes. That's when you stop reacting and start leading. So in this video, we're going to uncover these subconscious switches, one by one. This isn't about manipulation, it's about mastery, not of her, but of yourself. Stay with me. What you're about to hear might just rewrite the way you look at attraction. Forever. The attraction of mystery. There's something powerful about the unknown. Ever noticed how the man who says less, who doesn't always reply instantly, who disappears for a while without explanation, seems to linger longer in a woman's mind than the one who's always available? Mystery is magnetic. And not because you're playing games, but because silence creates space. And in that space, her imagination starts doing the work. The truth is, most men think connection comes from constant communication, oversharing, explaining, trying to open up too soon. But too much exposure too fast doesn't create closeness. It kills curiosity. You want her to think, where is he or what's going on in his world? Because when you're on her mind, you're already in a position of influence. This isn't about being cold, it's about being selective. Your life shouldn't revolve around proving your worth. It should revolve around living with purpose. So next time you feel the urge to text back immediately, pause. Let the silence speak for you. Don't rush to be known. Give her the gift. Fair of wondering. Mystery isn't the absence of truth, it's the presence of depth. The magnetic pull of leadership. Let me ask you something. When a man walks into a room calm, grounded, and certain, doesn't everything seem to slow down a bit? That's the power of leadership. And no, it's not about control. It's about direction. Women aren't drawn to indecisiveness, they're drawn to clarity, to presence, to the man who doesn't hesitate to say, "We're going here tonight," and makes it sound like the best idea in the world, not because he forces it, but because he believes it. You see, most guys think being nice means asking for permission for everything, always checking in, always deferring. But that doesn't create desire, it creates doubt. Because when a woman feels like she has to take the lead all the time, she also starts to feel the weight of the relationship. And what she really wants is to feel safe in your certainty. So, be the man who doesn't wait to be told. Be the one who takes the first step, not to dominate, but to invite. True leadership doesn't raise its voice. It moves quietly, but with intent. And in that stillness, something awakens in her. A pull. They spark, because deep down every woman wants to follow a man and who knows exactly where he's going. The forbidden fantasy. Let's be honest, everyone has a secret side. A part of them that craves something a little wild, a little dangerous. Something that breaks the rules just enough to make life feel alive again. For women, this often takes the shape of the forbidden fantasy. The thrill of stepping into a world that feels unpredictable, even just for a moment. That's why the bad boy stereotype never really dies. It's not because he's reckless, it's because he's a challenge. He doesn't fit the mold. He's not always polite, not always agreeable, and that's what makes him unforgettable. Now here's where most men get it wrong. They try too hard to be accepted, to be the perfect guy, safe, predictable. But what she actually wants is something real, unpolished, unfiltered. Someone who stirs the parts of her she doesn't even talk about. So how do you become that? Not by being rude, not by being fake, but by living boldly. Speak your truth, even if it stings a little. Break a pattern. Say no when everyone else says yes. Keep her guessing, not as a tactic but as a byproduct of your depth. Because when you become the man she can't quite define, you become the one she can't stop thinking about. The sweet pain of jealousy. Let's talk about something a little uncomfortable. Jealousy. It gets a bad rap. We're told it's toxic, that it ruins relationships. But like fire, it's not dangerous in itself. It's how you use it. The truth is, a little jealousy, when sparked just right, can reignite desire in a powerful way. Because nothing reminds a woman of your value more than the thought of possibly losing you. Think about it. Why is it that when you're always around, always available, she starts to take your presence for granted? But the moment she sees another woman smile at you, laugh with you, even just stand near you, suddenly everything changes. You're no longer just hers. You're someone the world wants, and that, right there, flips a switch in her. Now don't get this wrong. This isn't about playing petty games or making her insecure. It's about living a full magnetic life, one that naturally attracts people, and letting her see that you are valuable beyond her approval. Be the man who is desired, not because he begs for it, but because he radiates confidence, because sometimes the fear of losing you reminds her how much she wants to keep you. The emotional roller coaster. Let me tell you something most people won't admit. Stability is good, but too much of it can make things feel dull. You see, human beings, especially women, aren't wired to crave constant calm. What we truly remember, what stirs us, are contrasts. Moments of laughter followed by moments of depth, playfulness, interrupted by silence that says more than words. That's why relationships that feel too smooth, too safe, often lose their spark. Because when everything is predictable, nothing feels alive. Think about the movies she loves, the books that keep her up at night. They're filled with twists, tension, and emotional highs and lows. Not chaos, but movement. Not drama, but rhythm. So how do you bring that into a connection? Be the man who brings surprise into ordinary moments. Tell a joke when she expects seriousness. Drop a truth bomb when things feel too light. Pull away when she feels too in control. And then show up in a way she never saw coming. This isn't manipulation. This is storytelling. You are the author of the experience, because in the end, she won't remember the man who was always nice. She'll remember the one who made her feel something. The power of validation. Let me share a quiet truth that most men overlook. Women don't just want attention, they want to earn it. Yes, every woman craves to be seen, admired, desired. But when validation is given too easily, it loses its magic. It becomes noise, background, expected. Think about it. If you compliment her every day on how she looks, how she walks, how she breathes, eventually it stops landing. Because it's not rare anymore. It's routine. Real power lies in selective validation. A compliment that comes at the right moment, when she truly shines, when she steps out of her comfort zone, when you catch her in a moment she doesn't even know is beautiful. That's the kind of praise that hits deep. It makes her wonder, what is he thinking when he's silent? It draws her in, not because she needs approval, but because your approval now carries weight, so don't give it away for free. Let her earn it. Let her feel the satisfaction of knowing she moved you, not just existed in front of you. Because when your validation becomes a reflection of her true presence, not a habit, she'll value it more, and she'll start valuing you more too. The seduction of a deep voice. There's a kind of silence that speaks louder than words, and there's a voice not the loudest in the room, but the calmest, that draws the most attention. Have you ever noticed how a deep, steady voice seems to carry more weight? It's not just sound, it's presence, because in a world filled with noise and fast talkers, the man who speaks slowly, who doesn't rush, who lets silence sit between his words, commands the room without even trying. Women don't just listen to what you say, they listen to how you say it. A low, grounded tone signals confidence, control, depth. It tells her, this man doesn't need to prove anything. Try it. Next time you speak, slow down. Lower your voice, not to sound like someone else, but to settle into your own calm. Pause after you make a point. Let the silence underline your presence, because when you master your voice, you master the energy in the room, and in that stillness, she won't just hear you, she'll feel you. The intoxicating effect of touch. There are moments when words fall short, moments when connection isn't spoken, but felt. Touch is one of the oldest forms of human communication. It's subtle, powerful, and when done with intention, it can speak louder than anything you say. A light touch on her lower back as you guide her through a crowd. A gentle brush of your hand as you hand her a drink. A playful touch on the arm when she laughs. Small gestures, barely noticeable, yet deeply felt. You see, touch is not about being bold. It's about being present. It's about knowing the line between comfort and tension and walking that line with awareness. Because when done right, touch doesn't just create chemistry. It creates trust. It says, I see you, I'm here, and I'm confident in this moment. But here's the thing, it only works when it's honest. When it comes from a place of connection, not strategy. Too much too soon? It breaks the spell. But just enough, just right, and she'll lean in, without even knowing why. In a world starved for real connection, sometimes the most powerful move is simply knowing when to reach out and when to let the moment linger. The hypnotic power of eye contact. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. There's a kind of magic in eye contact when it's done with presence, not staring, not scanning, but holding, just long enough to be felt. Just long enough to make her wonder, what's behind that look? You see, most people either look away too fast, afraid of being seen, or they lock eyes too hard, turning intensity into awkwardness. The sweet spot? That one extra second. Hold her gaze just a little longer than expected. Then, slowly look away. No rush, no flinch, and maybe offer a small smile. A knowing one. That's the kind of moment that lingers. Because eye contact isn't about dominance, it's about connection. It says, I see you, I'm not in a hurry, and I'm not hiding. Think about the last time someone truly looked into your eyes, not to judge, not to impress, but to be present. Rare, right? That's why it stands out. So the next time you're with her, don't just speak, don't just listen, look. And when you do, let your silence say the rest, because when your eyes speak honestly, you don't need to say much at all. The unpredictability of a high-value man. Let me ask you this. When was the last time something or someone kept you thinking long after they left? That's the power of unpredictability. You see, a man who is too available, too responsive, too predictable loses his edge. Because when she can guess your next move, there's no mystery left. And where there's no mystery, there's no spark. Now, unpredictability doesn't mean playing games. It means having a life so full of purpose that you don't have time to orbit around anyone else. You're not ignoring her. You're just busy building something bigger than the relationship itself. Your mission, your vision, your own fire. So, don't rush to reply to every message. Don't be the guy who drops everything the second she calls. Instead, let her wonder, what's he working on? Why isn't he always available? Because when she doesn't fully have you, she leans in, she becomes curious. She starts chasing, not because you pulled away, but because your presence is a privilege, not a given. A high-value man lives with intention. He's not unpredictable because he's random. He's unpredictable because he's focused, and that is what makes him unforgettable. Final reflection and call to action. So now that you've seen it all, the question is simple but powerful. Will you keep making the same mistakes, or will you choose to take back control? Because here's what it comes down to. A high value. Man doesn't chase, he attracts. Not through manipulation, but through presence, purpose, and self-respect. Women don't want a man who tries too hard to be liked. They want a man who's already grounded, who knows who he is, where he's going, and isn't afraid to walk alone if necessary. That man commands respect, and he doesn't just catch her eye, he stays in her mind long after. So if you found value in this video, don't let it stop here. Hit that like button to support the message. Leave a comment. What part hit you the hardest? And if you want to dive even deeper, grab the free ebook, The Female Mind Control Handbook. The link's in the description and pinned comment. And of course, Subscribe for more truths that most people are too afraid to say out loud. This is your reminder: power doesn't beg, it becomes.